Captain Australia here. I hope you can hear me all right. The earbuds are in, but I don't trust them anymore. So it's getting towards 7. It's a little bit early, but I've decided to pitch camp strategically a bit early. Normally I'd push on for another hour, but I thought I could use the extra daylight and the place here to show you what's involved when I pitch a camp. So firstly, you check for hazards. This place isn't ideal because they've got ferns, which can, affect visibility on the ground. So for things like snakes and whatnot. And from the ground up, you're looking for big logs and snake holes and whatever. And then when you look up, you want to assess for dead trees, dead branches, anything that could fall down in a storm and hurt or kill you. You've got also then the consideration, it's nice to have a bit of a dense canopy, so if there's bushes around that give a bit of extra cover overhead in case there's a storm, so the old tarp doesn't have to bear it all. But yeah, I thought I could show you a quick rundown of the gear that I'm carrying and how I go when I set a camp. So if you're not interested in that, so very sorry, this is Captain Australia pitching a camp show. Boom boom. So I hope you can hear me all right. As I move away, you might not be able to. I'll try and raise my voice. I just don't trust these earbuds anymore. So firstly, the gear that I'm carrying, I've got this pouch on the front. It's got my wallet, money. There's actually a little screwdriver in there. And honestly, that's probably an improvised weapon. You know what I mean? Like if I got mobbed by 5 guys, you can jab a screwdriver in between your thing, and that's brutal and it's gross. But if it's a question between survival or dying at the hands of some thugs beating you up, then you want every little bit of leverage that you can. And who knows, a screwdriver can be handy for other things. So I've got a screwdriver in there and money. I've also got my vaccination certificate and a few other little things like that. Then I've got this little lanyard here on the left, which has some sunscreen, a selfie stick dangling from it, and it had my there was a solar panel on there as well, but it's busted. The torch part doesn't work anymore. Then you've got a first aid kit. In there, there's some special dressings for blisters, as well as some straps if if I did take a serious wound and I were bleeding, I could wrap myself up. Oh, look how badly that's fallen to pieces, by the way. On this side, I've got canteen that holds a litre of water. It looks small like a cup, but it holds a good litre of water. And then there's this bag here, and inside is a multi-output cable and a power bank. So that keeps my phone going, and I can feed into it from on the back. Can you see that? This is an unfoldable solar blanket. So on a nice bright sunny day, if I set that up on the pack while I'm walking, I can get probably about a full phone charge. Yeah, so that's the gear. And also on the back, on the bottom here, is my tarp and my hammock. So I thought I'd set up the hammock and you can have a look at how I do that. And I'm just I'm not a survivalist or a bushman or any of that sort of stuff. I'm just figuring out as I go along. But what I like to do is find a place to put the bag down, and in the morning you've got to check, make sure nothing creepy crawly got into your bag and your boots. But I like to lay the stuff underneath the hammock so it has the protection of the hammock and the tarp. And I put the things that I'm going to need in the tarp with me. This area is good, there's no leeches and stuff, but the main consideration when setting the hammock up is that the environment inside it doesn't get contaminated by creepy crawlies. So I don't accidentally put an article of clothing in there that has a leech on it, then I climb in, and then the leech gets on me, starts feeding on me, and we've made that mistake before, yeah? So I'm going to put it between this tree here and that tree over there, which I think should be in your frame there. So I'll lay this down underneath that. I hope you can still hear me. And this is how it looks. This here is just a poncho and wrapped inside my jacket. So it's my wet weather gear, but I also sleep in this or use it as a pillow. So there's no creepy crawlies around. We'll just put that there for now. This is my magic tarp. So I hope you can hear me. So wrapped up inside the tarp here is my hammock. So we untie this amateurishly knotted golden Captain Australia ear coloured rope. Whoops, earbuds, I hope you're still working. And we can unwrap this. And we'll be using this in a sec because the tarp's become a bit ripped and stretched and compromised. So what I do for water protection from rain is use the tarp in combination with the poncho that I'd normally wear on my body. So, got this, gonna need it again, so let's just tuck that over there. And when we collapse this, you'll see the tarp's double rolled over, and inside is my hammock. What it's got this carabiner, I think is how you say it, and that's got a strap that you attach to the tree. So I'll show you. You just unclip one end, come over here, choose a place where we want to put it, about yay high, and this will probably fall down because it doesn't have the weight of gravity to hold it in place, and there's no, there's no branch to hold it in place, but I can adjust that when I've got the other end up. So, fixing that, clipping that, half done. Then I grab the other end, and same deal. Do a quick check, make sure there's no creepy crawlies or anything in there. I could have packed a snake up in there and been carrying it around all day. Same deal. Now this is where the tarp suffered damage here, you can probably see. And so I've had some unpleasant leaks through there, not good. So we don't want that again. So same deal, get this, come over to the opposite side, and see that's starting to fall down, but we can adjust that. Now this one has a few dead branches here that we'll just clear out of the way. And it has a nice little supporting branch for me to loop over, which we'll do. And then, yiggity yiggity. Nicely done. So now this, underneath this tarp, as you can see, there's my magic hammock. And it's got a insect net. So that now is insect free, and it's got in there a blanket and a little towel. So we want to tighten this up, put it up a bit higher. Whoops. Low to the ground right now. Low to the ground isn't a problem, as long as it's not touching the ground or the bag. That's a little bit better, I think. Might even tighten that up a bit. Yeah, that'll do. And look, that's the nuts and bolts of it. Sorry, I don't know if you've been able to hear all of that or if the earbuds have pooped their pants or not. Rest up, Captain, and sleep well tonight. Looks like a good campsite. Yeah, I'm not actually that far from the road. It's so I'm just like 4k north or 5k north of the entrance and about 30k from Gosford. So the goal tomorrow, I'll head into the entrance, maybe grab some breakfast and then push through to Gosford and maybe beyond Gosford, I don't know, or I might stay in Gosford. I don't feel as though I'm really powering through with the walks. I feel as though I'm investing more effort, but for less return. So my pace is maybe 4k or something. You can hear loud and clear. Thank you so much for letting me know, Cindy. Cool. So we've got that set up, and what I then do is I'm going to put my other high-vis superhero uniform on over the top of this one, because it makes me much more comfortable at night. And then I stash everything away underneath. So I might as well as, if you're watching, I'll keep streaming. This poncho, because this end of the tarp is all torn up, I set this up to cover this end to make sure we've well and truly got some protection from the water. And in here, in my little zippy pouch, I've got a couple of pegs that I use to hold it in place, just common house pegs. You know, in a big whippy old storm I'm probably going to be a bit rooted, but when we have a good amount of rain, this resists it okay. So tie that up, clip that up. So now water can't really get to the hammock underneath, and What have I forgot? I've forgotten something. Oh yeah, the tarp. Normally I have to tie the tarp up physically as well because it hangs a bit limp now because it suffered a bit of damage. So, sorry, you're looking at my butt, aren't you? I can feel those eyes burning into my delicious old man big old butt. You weirdo. Stop looking at my butt. Oh, you can't even, am I even in the frame? Barely. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sorry if you can't. This is where it gets a bit boring, in fact, because I'm just struggling to untie knots that I struggle to tie up. So my little bits of rope are starting to fray and fall to pieces, which is regrettable. And oh dear, this one's really falling to pieces. Okay, so let's just move this poncho back so I can see what I'm doing. It doesn't normally take this long, I think, because I'm trying to explain what I'm doing. It's throwing me off. So I've done this in the dark, and I've done this much quicker. And so this rope is to more firmly anchor the tarp. And in the morning I just have to reverse everything that I've done with the same principles, you know. Don't get contaminated, no insects, any of that. And after this, you know, I've got to get my gear off, my boots off, and everything sits underneath. So, sorry if I've bored you titless. You know, this next bit, I might end the stream there, because this next bit, it's really just me putting an extra shirt on and taking the boots off, and then ow, spiky plant. Everything wants to kill you in the Australian bush. Even the beautiful benign little ferns. So yeah, then I climb into the hammock and I'm all secure, and I take in there the charger, the phone, and food and drink, and everything else stays in the pack underneath. So all of this gear that I showed you before sits underneath the pack, underneath the tarp. So when I get up in the morning, it's usually all pretty dry. You just have to check for creepy crawlies. So that is bip-bip-a-diggity, Captain Australia pitching camp. Now, it would be super viral, creepy moment if we looked behind and there was like Slender Man or something. But a guy asked me today, I met this lovely family, and he said, mate, aren't you scared camping, you know, in the middle of scrub all by yourself? And I mean, the short answer is there's reason to be scared. Sure, it's vulnerable. And all of the hazards are, you know, the ones I've already listed. Tripping, falling wood, storms, people, snakes, and all the creepy crawlies. But at the end of the day, I've thrown myself into this adventure, and I intend to just live that. And coming out, and I'll be as prudent as I can, as smart as I can, and if I'm a bit vulnerable, well, you can't have a safe adventure. You know what I mean? So part of surrendering myself is also, I guess, kind of creating the skill, that template of being able to surrender. So cancer has been a dark fate hanging over my head, and I've fought it, and I've been angry at it and bitter about it, and I hadn't reached the point of being able to accept it, and I kept feeding my grief and my despair about what would happen to my children and all of that. But being able to surrender to the situation and just within that umbrella of the situation find ways to move forward, to be good, to do good. I think that's the way you live a life, and I'm just trying to relearn that. And this is just a little, it's a simulation of that, you know. It's putting myself into those situations to learn those basic fundamentals of what it means to be a human being. Anyway, I'm coming alive and becoming viable again, and I'm going to get all this gear off, jump in my hammock. Hey, and maybe I'll stream up for a chat. Sorry, this has been more me showing you how Captain Australia pitches camp and what his gear looks like. Boom, boom. But yeah, I've got pretty good reception here, so I'll have a little stream with my kids and maybe check in and see if anybody wants to have like an interactive chitty chat with Kiggity Captain Australia. You know, somebody said Captain Australia karaoke, we could get a bit of that going. Oh yeah, let's groove tonight. I feel the spice of life. The price is right. Let this groove get you to move. It's all right, all right, all right. You see, I don't know what's wrong with me, and when these things happen, I don't know why they happen. I'm trying, I guess, to entertain. I don't know what's going on. Eating in the hammock is not good for your digestion. Indigestion is what you're asking for. Yes, Lynette, you're right. Thank you, Captain Australia's Big Walk Mum. You are absolutely right. And I am prone to that. So I had a peg feeding tube surgically inserted into my stomach where I would feed formula in, and I was dependent on that for a while. So I have a thing called dysphagia too, where with the lack of saliva and having been dependent on that tube for a prolonged period, swallowing can be a bit weird. I can get stuff lodged in the breastbone. So that whole thing combined with reflux problems, it's gross, and I have to be aware of that. Eating in the hammock is not smart, is not prudent, but you can actually kind of sit up in the hammock. So I'm mindful of that, mindful of the gravity of eating and drinking. And I also, in shrinking my body and improving my internal health, I do think the symptoms of all of that stuff have gotten a lot better too. So I just have to be mindful. I was dependent on medicine for reflux a year ago. I haven't taken it. I don't need it anymore. But you're right. Don't eat in the hammock laying down. Don't eat laying down in general. Your body's built to have gravity like that when you eat. We're not meant to be in ancient Rome having slaves feed bloody grapes into our mouths. So you should know better. Oh, look. I'll go with this mum-son thing up to a point, but I'm a grown man, okay, or woman, or I'm a grown person, all right? But at the end of the day, you know, you got to if you're a parent, you have to let your child fall out of a tree, okay? It's the only way you learn. You make mistakes, you learn, you repeat the mistake if you need to learn better, and then you move forward improved. So, you know, teaching isn't just giving stern information. Teaching is giving supervision and the room to learn. So, Mum, come on. All right, so this is Captain Australia's Big Walk. I'm walking from Brisbane to Melbourne. And all told, if I take the originally planned route, that's going to be 2,400 and something kilometres. Right now, I'm maybe 3 days out of Sydney. I think the next plan is Gosford, then a place called Ettalong. And I take, from there I take a ferry across to Palm Beach, and it might just be a solid day's walk from Palm Beach into the northern shore of Sydney, where I'll find a secret place to camp, and then I'll cross the harbour bridge on the morning of that fourth day, I think, if that all works to plan. And I'm hoping that I'll meet an old friend of mine when I get to Palm Beach or somewhere thereafter, and he's going to walk with me for a bit, maybe even a full day or so. So that's going to be cool. I'll introduce him. He's a lovely guy. I think you'll like him. And anybody else who lives in any of those areas who wants to come along or have a stroll or have a meet or have a chat or whatever, love to. Just hit me a message on the Captain Australia's Big Walk Facebook Messenger page thing, and I'll try my best to answer them as quickly as I can. So for now, I'm going to jump in the hammock, and I might stream up later if you want to have a little bit of a chat. So all the best. Brett has joined. G'day, Brett. You've just joined right near the very end, so I'm about to toddle off and change my gear and get in the hammock. And while I've had my back turned talking to you, it may be that a snake or a leech has crawled into the stuff that I'm going to put into the hammock. So I'm going to do a full check again to make sure that everything's okay. But as you can see, this is what it looks like when I pitch my rough camp. Okay, so thanks so much for your interest. And if you want to know more about the charity, look at the sticky post at the top of the timeline. That explains everything, and it has links to the donation page and all of that stuff. And if there's anything that you can do to help promote the charity, love it. Don't feel on the hook. Watch if you're having fun or you're getting something from it. That's all absolutely great. But if you feel disposed to like and share and do all that sort of stuff, love it. So thank you so much for your kindness. Take care of yourselves. I'm signing out for now.